outcome agent.
Treadstone without the inconsistency. We have never seen evaluations like this.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2012 action film, The Bourne Legacy. The film is co-written and directed by Tony Gilroy, and it stars Jeremy Renner, Rachel Weisz, Edward Norton, Stacey Keach, Donna Murphy and Corey Stoll. Right, okay, this is obviously set in the universe of the Bourne films, and this film focuses on Jeremy Renner's character, Aaron Cross, who is part of the program, the Blackbriar program, essentially, or initially. And it's set during the events in 2004 of the Bourne Ultimatum. So as the events of the Bourne Ultimatum play out, we see the side effects of that, and the fact that the powers that be, if you like, are shutting down the programs as a failsafe because of what Jason Bourne did in the third one. This directly results in a lot of the asset stroke agents being assassinated, really, and killed. And in the process of this, Jeremy Renner's character, who is in like a retreat high in like the snowy mountains, he avoids a missile, survives, and is determined to find out why this has happened. So he teams up with Rachel Weisz's character, Dr. Marta Shearing, who is responsible for helping develop some chemicals that are used on these agents to make them even more alert and improve their reflexes, etc. And then Aaron Cross and her team up to kind of try and take down the powers that be. Right. What are my thoughts on the Bourne Legacy? Well, this essentially was a first-time watch for me. I'd never seen this film. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the Bourne movies. And if you follow my content, you know that I have reviewed all the Jason Bourne films, all 4 of them so far. Now, this isn't in sequence because this came out in 2012 and Jason Bourne came out in, was it 2016? Something like that. So this actually came before, but I wanted to do this last because it's a separate film, if you like. I want to do all the Jason Bourne films first. And it actually probably would have made more sense to do this directly after Ultimatum because the two films tie together quite well, really, and I didn't realise that because I'd never seen this before. But what we have here, I think, is a really solid outing that feels like it belongs in like the Bourne universe, and we've got an interesting new lead in Aaron Cross, played very well by Jeremy Renner. I thought it was a perfect casting, really, for him in this movie. We get here a fairly layered and complex character, very much like Jason Bourne, and it's a shame that we kind of maybe didn't get more of these films to kind of learn a little bit more, because he kind of seemed a little bit of, I don't know, when he was recruited into the program, he was almost desperate to get into the program, sort of thing, and didn't have a great deal of self-belief. And it was an interesting idea to kind of bring these chems, as they call them, into the movie, into these agents. So, like, obviously Jason Bourne wasn't developed using chems and wasn't expected to keep taking chemicals, sort of thing, whereas Jeremy Renner is, and the agents on his program, so they've got like these different chemicals they got to take, like I say, and they improve their reflexes and heighten the senses and all this kind of stuff, and gives them an edge. But I'm not sure about how I feel about the chems thing. I think it probably would have been a better storyline if, he started off on these chems, felt like he needed them, and had to kind of go cold turkey to come off them, just to realise that he didn't need them anyway, you know what I mean? And he's kind of doing it off his own steam, everything that he's learned and stuff. I always prefer that, when they kind of, in the movies like this, they kind of do it when they're not enhanced with things. And it reminds me of Universal Soldier, when Van Damme beats Dolph Lundgren at the end. He can only beat him by injecting himself with that, super serum, whatever you want to call it. Whereas it would have been a much better ending if he'd have defeated him, without those extra abilities. And it's a similar thing here. I'm not. I don't think it's a game changer. In regards to having the chems in this, and it certainly didn't spoil it for me. It just kind of, I don't know. It's the only thing one of the only things in this film that I just wasn't keen on, if you like. I also wasn't overly keen on the idea that it felt to me like they kind of diminished the outcome from Ultimatum in some respects. The fact that the power-ups in that film got what was coming to them, because the whole program got revealed, and all the people involved in it got exposed, and Pamela Landy was the hero almost, and obviously Jason Bourne, and the others kind of, you knew they were going to get what were coming to them. This film kind of puts a massive question mark next to that. It actually implied that Pamela Landy was going to be assassinated, and that the power-ups in Ultimatum were going to get away with it, which I'm not sure I liked. You know what I mean? For me, it kind of puts a bit of a sour patch on the ending of Ultimatum. It might be actually more realistic, in the grand scheme of things. That's probably what would happen. But yeah, it just didn't particularly sit right with me. But what we get here definitely is very action-packed stuff, very polished action sequences and stunts. Some great fight scenes. I would have preferred a few more hand-to-hand type fight scenes here in this. And the Rachel Weisz character, I'm not sure. I don't know. I thought she was fine here. But again, I'm not. Maybe it was the chemistry between them that just wasn't there, sort of thing. Like Matt Damon and obviously Maria in the first one, Jason Bourne and Maria. It felt right, that partnership in that. This one just, I don't know, it felt a little bit disjointed, but again, not to the massive detriment of the movie. So I did enjoy this. I thought it was a solid outing for the franchise. And ultimately, I think I would have liked to have seen another one of this. I mean, ultimately, this one initially was written as the fourth Jason Bourne film, but Matt Damon and Paul Greengrass weren't keen on the script, and then Paul Greengrass wasn't interested in returning, so they both walked away, and then it was redeveloped into this film that we get now, The Bourne Legacy. And then, as we know, Matt Damon and Paul Greengrass came back anyway in Jason Bourne in 2016. So yeah, I'm glad I've seen this now. I think initially I always avoided this one because I was kind of like, I don't know, I don't want this to kind of ruin the legacy, pardon the pun, of the Jason Bourne films, but I don't think it does. It kind of sits comfortably within the Bourne franchise, this. And if you haven't seen it, it is definitely worth checking out. So thanks for joining me, guys. Next week, I'm going to hopefully be reviewing The Bourne Identity, the TV miniseries that starred Richard Chamberlain. So if you didn't know that existed, it's a thing. And I'll be giving you my thoughts on that one. So stay tuned. Thanks for joining me, everybody.